Let's break down what actually happened in Islamabad and why the real picture diverges so sharply from the official version. The American side came to these talks with loud social media declarations, hardline conditions, and complete confidence it would be setting the Trump's team wrote explicitly, no concessions, no revision of positions, our terms only. Iran's response was simple. It didn't show up. Before we get into it, subscribe to my channel. Thank you. The Iranian delegation, led by Parliament Speaker Galibaf and Foreign Minister Araghchi, sat at Tehran's airport for hours and didn't board a plane. Not because they couldn't, but because they chose not to until their conditions were met in full. This is a critically important point. Iran wasn't haggling and wasn't appealing for leniency. Iran set its conditions and waited for them to be fulfilled. That is not the posture of a defeated country. It's the posture of a side that knows exactly where the real leverage lies. Galibaf publicly stated two non-negotiable preconditions. First, a full ceasefire in Lebanon. Second, the release of Iran's frozen assets before any negotiating process could begin. We're talking about $8 to $10 billion, possibly more. The American side initially rejected both demands. Vance told reporters publicly that Lebanon wasn't on the agenda at all and that Galibaf had simply misread the terms. Galibaf's response was brief. Fine, then we won't be in Islamabad. The delegation stayed in Tehran. What happened next speaks for itself. Within hours, the American side conceded on both points. Pressure was applied to Netanyahu. Strikes on Lebanon were paused. Iran's assets were unblocked. Iranian officials posted on social media immediately and without diplomatic ambiguity. The preconditions have been accepted. The American side said nothing. The delegation flew to Islamabad. The historical context here matters. The very same politicians who spent years attacking Obama over concessions to Iran in the 2015 nuclear deal apparently just unblocked billions of Iranian dollars before negotiations had even begun, with no verifiable guarantees, no oversight mechanisms, payment in advance. The Obama deal, whatever its critics said, at least contained detailed verification procedures. Here, there was nothing comparable, only a prepayment for a seat at the table. Iranian social media, at that moment, was running one pointed question. Bully or not bully, that is the question. Then came the brief follow-up. The conditions have been accepted. This was not an internal diplomatic message. It was a public demonstration of who actually holds the initiative. Now let's address what these negotiations are actually about. Before the conflict, between 130 and 160 vessels transited the Strait of Hormuz every single day. During hostilities, 8 to 10. After the ceasefire, 1 to 2 per day, mostly cargo ships under Iranian flag, no major tankers. This is the near complete shutdown of one of the world's primary trade arteries, through which a substantial share of global oil supply flows. Trump publicly claims Iran's military no longer exists. Its navy is destroyed, its air defense is eliminated, and the strait will open automatically. Simple question: if all of that is true, why aren't American ships transiting it right now? U.S. intelligence officially estimates Iran still holds thousands of ballistic missiles, plus drones, plus small vessels controlling the choke point without any aircraft carriers needed, plus the ability to redeploy launch systems from underground storage at any moment. The central question: what did the American side actually achieve? Before the war, two objectives were declared: regime change and the destruction of Iran's military capability. Neither has been accomplished. The Islamic Republic stands. The IRGC has strengthened its domestic position. Support for the regime has grown. War consolidated Iranian society around its government. The Islamabad negotiations are now focused on one thing: how to reopen the strait, meaning a return to the exact status quo that existed before the entire campaign began. That is the real outcome. Loud rhetoric, military expenditure, human losses, and the result is a conversation about simply returning to the starting point. While all of this was unfolding, the president was posting about a triumphal arch in Washington, installing statues in the White House Rose Garden, and pledging taxpayer money to Orban ahead of Hungary's elections. When asked about a backup plan, the answer was, Iran's military is gone. Everything is under control. The shipping data from the strait says otherwise. Negotiations are ongoing. We're watching every step. Subscribe now, activate the bell, stay sharp. See you in the next video.